Welcome to the I Am You podcast. I am your host, Dr. Nitza Alvarez, a board-certified cardiologist and best-selling author. My hope with this podcast is to share stories so women can speak up and become the CEO of their own health. I am a cardiologist. I am a wife. I am a mother. My story is your story. I am you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Am You podcast. Today, I'm joined by Denise Ramon. Denise have a very nice story to share with us today, and I'm so happy to be here with her today. Denise, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for asking me.
I am so glad that you have the courage to come here and sit down with me. I know that sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking when we said, oh, can we talk? And then particularly when it had to do with health, no?
Yes.
So a woman that sits in that chair and is willing to share her story and her journey so other women can enrich their life through it, be their own advocate, and learn through your journey is a very brave woman, and that's you today. So thank you. So Denise, when we started our relationship as a patient-doctor, you came to me because your primary care doctor provider suggested that you see a specialist because they were having a little bit of challenges controlling your blood pressure. Nothing big, at that point, it wasn't anything that you were having heart attack or symptoms of heart attack or any other major cardiac problem. But we took advantage of that moment where you came to see me to control your blood pressure as we work on that process to also understand and get a good baseline of your cardiac health, because at that moment was the first time that you have visited a cardiologist. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we wanted to know, not only you were already postmenopausal, so there was already some risk factors. In addition to that, you were already struggling with high blood pressure that was a little hard to control. So we identified that there were some risk factors for heart disease, and we said, okay, we're going to work on controlling your blood pressure, understanding why is that blood pressure elevated, but at the same time, we're going to get a good understanding of your overall cardiac health. And that's how we started. Yes? So do you see now, 7 years later, 8 years later, about 8 years, do you see the value of that initial encounter that you had with me when you met with a cardiac specialist?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I've learned so much from you of monitoring my health myself. I have you, you're like my captain, but I have to listen and take care of myself and just do what's right for me.
So I think that for the audience, so many times we wait until there's something wrong to see a cardiologist, for example. I always said, if you're a postmenopausal woman and you have not had a cardiac evaluation, then you better make an appointment.
Yes.
And not everybody knows that. A lot of us, a lot of women are walking around not knowing that menopause creates a significant change in our life beyond the hot flashes, that it increases our risk for heart disease, which is our number one killer, that prior to menopause, our risks are much lower. So there is this transition in the perimenopause and menopause where all these hormones are changing, and it goes beyond our weight and the hot flashes, as I mentioned, and that the heart is actually the major organ that get affected by menopause. So when you came to see me, after we did the evaluation, in the journey of going back for our regular checkups and things like that, then things started happening, and you having me, it was a little easier to access, no? Definitely. So I want you to share with the audience. At some point, you got a diagnosis of breast cancer, yeah? We were already in this partnership together. What does that mean to you when you got the diagnosis of breast cancer? And share with the audience, actually the way I found out is because you call your blood pressure, how this was affecting you and how you thought that the diagnosis itself and the stress. But I want the audience to hear from you when you got the diagnosis.
I've had 2 diagnoses of breast cancer. Before I even met you, I had 1 episode and went through chemo and radiation. Then I had a reoccurrence, and that was when I was already under your care. So I had to have that treated and taken care of. So again, I had to go through radiation. I think through that period, I needed the guidance to help maintain the pressure because I was postmenopausal, and I needed just to stabilize myself, to get control of that blood pressure and move on with my life, because I wasn't ready to go anywhere, and I want to be active. So
of course, when we get the diagnosis of cancer, for you was the second time, which although you already been through the journey, so a little more familiar with what to expect. At the same time, it's the second time. So then you also worry of, oh my God, I got it again. Yes. And that is not necessarily a common thing. We see in a woman that survived a diagnosis, get treated, and then get diagnosed again. Yeah. And interestingly enough, for women, for you and I, and the one that are listening to us, the word cancer is terrible, and we dread the word. Yeah. And unfortunately, we worry so much more about cancer than what we worry about what most likely is going to take our lives away, which is heart disease. Yes. So for you, it was actually very interesting because even though you did have the diagnosis of breast cancer for the second time, you were worried about how is this going to affect my heart?
Exactly.
They're going to irradiate my chest again. Yes. I know that this increases my risk for heart problem, but and that's amazing because ultimately we know that the survival rate for women with breast cancer is very good. And most likely, if they are going to die, they're going to die from heart disease.
Exactly.
And it's the least thing that we worry. So for you, it was more about, okay, I'm going to go through this journey. I'm going to go through this therapy, but I need to make sure that my heart is going to be okay. So two things that I want the audience to understand about breast cancer therapy and how a cardiologist come to the picture. Chemotherapy, some of the chemotherapies that are used to treat breast cancer can cause long-term damage to the heart muscle, causing cardiomyopathy, which means the heart gets weak. Eventually, the patient will suffer from congestive heart failure. And if you are not aware that the chemotherapy that you're receiving can affect your heart, then long-term, you will survive the cancer and then you're going to end up with another cardiac problem. Now, the fact that a woman with cancer does not develop heart disease during the treatment doesn't mean that they are not going to develop the disease. It's a lifelong risk. The importance of getting your checkups with your cardiologist. Normally, we do ultrasounds to follow up on that function of the heart, but we also go over how is the patient feeling, which is the importance of those visits in between tests, no? Yes. So if you, as a patient, breast cancer patient, going through therapy, you know that, okay, I have heart risk. Yes, we got to be looking for symptoms of shortness of breath, swelling, anything that can point out to the fact that you might be building up water in your system, which is a sign that your heart is failing to pump effectively. Now, the radiation for you were very mindful of the radiation and you were worried about it.
Yes, I was.
And, it's hard, although the technology has changed dramatically in how we do the radiation and things like that. It's hard to radiate a breast, particularly if it's in the left side of the body, without the heart being exposed to that radiation. Mm-hmm. And I know that for you, that was one of the concerns, no? When you share with me, I wasn't sure about the fact. They said that I was going to get chill and I was going to be protected, but you felt like, how is my heart not going to be exposed?
It's right below the breast. I mean,
it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah. So radiation can promote more plaque formation. So radiation to the chest, the same way that it causes inflammation in the tissue, kind of like that burning feeling or the burn in the skin, then can also cause more inflammation in the internal organ, which can promote plaque formation. So I think that this is actually a good message for the audience, the ones that are listening to us that either had been diagnosed with breast cancer or have a family member. To number one, yes, breast cancer is more common in women because we have more breast tissue. Not that it cannot happen in a man because it can, but it's not our number one killer. And number two, that if you had been diagnosed with breast cancer, then you got to be aware that there are certain therapies that you might have gone through that put you at higher risk for heart disease. So I was happy to be there for you. And that's another thing that I was telling you, the idea of having a provider from the beginning, because then you can pick up the phone or send a message or talk to one of my liaisons.
Who are wonderful. Let me say that.
Being able to, they were the ones that make you sit on that chair, though.
Yeah, but they're there if I need advice, if in case you're busy or whatever. They're right there.
Yeah.
So.
We are a team, no? And I realize that we all have our, limitations. So I'm one human. We have many responsibilities. So the idea is that we can build up a village where it doesn't matter where do you touch, you receive the same care.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
So when you talk to one of somebody else in the office, that there can be a reflection, and with the knowledge that we need them to have to understand heart disease and understand the management that we implement for our women.
Right.
So I also want to, being proactive definitely has been one of the things that had characterized you, and you want to live and you want to have a good quality of life. And what does that mean to you in terms of the things that you need to do to get there? You take care of your diet, you're doing your exercise. Do you feel that having a team of doctors in your side means I'm preparing to live longer? Does that even make a difference to you?
Definitely. My mother also had heart issues, and she had breast cancer. And it wasn't breast cancer that killed my mother. It was the heart issues. And I remember her feet swelling. I remember that congestive heart failure episodes. I know I need guidance to get through the next 10, 15 years of my life. And you're there. So
I didn't know your mother's journey.
Oh, I didn't think you did. I wasn't sure I was going to share it or not, but she did. Yeah, she was a big player in my life. And
wow.
Yeah.
So in your case, even though you had to witness your mother dying from heart disease, yes,
right.
It helped you to be aware of down the road. Like when you started getting the diagnosis, you're like, wait a second. So my mom had this, and then she ended up developing this other problem. And a lot of women don't know that.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that we actually touched on that today. And I was elaborating on it without knowing that you already witnessed all of that in the journey of your mother.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The American Cancer Association has done an amazing job. In creating awareness of cancer, and made us be mindful of it. Unfortunately, the heart is still underneath that pink ribbon, and we had to do a much better job in helping our women understand that, yes, we got to take care of ourselves in all aspects, but if you're going to prioritize something, your heart is your priority, because that will be the one that is going to claim your life. For the rest, we had treatment.
Exactly. I totally agree.
That's amazing. I am so happy that you're here today. I consider myself blessed to be able to serve you and serve many women like you that had trust me in their journey. And it's my hope that at some point in my lifetime, I can witness that every woman had the opportunity to receive a great quality of care where they're seen for what they are, not like little men, that they're seen for our uniqueness.
Yes.
And that we don't have to rely on luck or being lucky that you live in a place where you can have access to a doctor like me. So that women can go anywhere and they know for sure that they're going to find somebody that it will understand them and advocate for them.
And I just feel very blessed to have you. I mean, not that there are other cardiologists out there, but you were the right fit for me, Doc. And I'm glad you're on my side.
And that's another thing that you just said. You're the right fit. And I said, okay, find the right fit. It's like, we know that one side doesn't fit all.
Right.
Yeah, but you, the one that is listening to, make sure that the one that you're working with is the right fit for you.
Exactly.
And how do you know that is somebody that listens to me, is somebody that understands me, is somebody that I feel comfortable, is somebody that I trust. Yes?
Yes. And somebody that cares. I do believe you care. So
beautiful. I'm very grateful for you to be here today.
Thank you.
And this takes us to the end of another episode of I Am You. Thank you for joining us. I hope this episode has empowered you to be the CEO of your own health. Tune into our next episode, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at NITZAMD. To explore more on this and related topics, visit our website, NITZAMD.com. If this episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe. And one more thing, share with the wonderful woman in your life.